Hello.
Hello.
Aw,
How are you?
cutie. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous. I really
Good.
am. Just talking to Eric and singing some of his favorite lullabies I used to sing him.
Aw, how
Yeah.
sweet.
We always had this thing every night with the kids, read them a story at bedtime, and then sing them some songs. I had a very, you know, tiny repertoire of things I could sing in my ghastly voice. And
Aw.
then tickle tummy rub back. That's what it was. Tickle tummy rub back. And oh yeah,
Aw,
those were the days, huh, Eric?
I miss it, Mom. I miss it.
I know. Well, come over. We can do the same thing. I have to work on my voice, but hey, guess what we're going to try to do today? And we might have to break this up into little parts, but well, we're going to try. You think you can get a Bigfoot in here?
He goes, ooh, let's do it.
Oh my God. Okay, brace yourself, Kim. Hopefully, he won't bring his smell with him. I hear it's pretty pungent.
He looked at me. He goes, you ready?
Well, I'm ready.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's rock and roll.
He looked at me and he goes, Kim, you're not ready for this. This is new to you.
Oh, poor Kim.
I'm open for whatever, but it's
You're
going to be an
amazing, Kim.
experience.
You really take it on the chin. Gosh, you're brave.
Thanks. I try. I'm just the conduit. I trust Eric, so whatever he wants to do, I trust him. Let's do it.
Okay. Oh God.
He goes, he goes, how many you want? What kind do you want?
I
He's
don't
like,
know whoever's going to be able to answer our questions. I've got lots of questions about them and their culture, etc. Whoever's chatty.
okay. He goes Bigfoot and Yeti. So I guess there's some differences
Okay.
there.
Okay.
So there's one of each that he's brought forward, but when you said whoever's chatty, he went to like he pushed forward the Bigfoot,
Okay.
who we call Bigfoot.
What does he look like, Kim?
Um, as he steps forward, it's he feels extremely intelligent. He
Mm.
feels very calm, very subtle type of energy. He doesn't feel scary or threatening, like when people hunt for Bigfoot, how they
Yeah.
feel scared and threatened. Um, he's much larger than a typical man. The shoulder spread is much wider, but it's not like this big hairy beast that we imagine. It's there is hair, but it's much less than what I I would have imagined.
Oh.
Um, uh, no neck. Just to
Okay.
try to give you guys a visual, there's like
Okay.
not much of a neck there. It's very um A-shaped and then goes right into the shoulders, big
Okay.
wide shoulders. Um, like a darker tan color. Um, the chest is not completely covered in hair. Like there's this real thick skin. Like he's
Okay.
getting. It's very interesting when I ask him, "Can you tell me what you look like or what you feel like?" Um, I'm not going to ask about the smell, but he's very kind. He's just very
Interesting.
subtle.
Well, let me start with my questions then. What do you think about us humans? And do you fear us?
Um, we don't fear you. More so, it's agitation. It's agitate. We get agitated and irritated sometimes. We're not fearful. Um, oh, he said, you guys should fear yourselves.
Mm.
Um, he says the reason we get agitated and irritated is it feels like an invasion of space and
Yeah.
an invasion of there's not a lot of respect.
Mm. No,
So
there
when
isn't.
people come out and they hunt for Bigfoot,
Mm.
um, it's there's not a lot of respect there. He says think about if one of your own kind went and set up a place in the woods and wanted to live in the woods. Would you go hunt for him and start yelling for him? And he goes, you wouldn't because that's disrespectful. But why is it okay just because it's a different species? And of course you're curious, but it's why does there become a lack of respect?
Yeah, I apologize for our race. I really do. You know?
He says there's just, more so, he says when people go and hunt for Bigfoot or Yetis, whatever you want to call them, he says it's not just the discovery, but it's the want to be the first. I
I
want to be
know.
the first to discover or to show you, look what I captured. And most of the time, we don't want any part of that. We just want our solitude. We want, we like being together. Like he's talking about traveling and existing in packs,
How
like
large are your packs usually?
small, like two to three. Um,
Are they family? Like mom, dad, kid?
he says most of the time, but our families are not like yours. Our families are small, and we don't raise ours like you do. As soon as they become self-sufficient to feed and thrive, then they're cut loose but not cut off, he says. But we prefer, there's just a much different type of existence, he says, when it comes to respecting your surroundings,
Yeah.
respecting who's with you. Um, so typically when we sense or feel human energy coming around, we don't want to be a part of it. So it's like they transition through dimensions, I guess, like
Ah,
through realms.
that's what Eric said. That's why you're so elusive is because you really can cross dimensions. Is there another dimension you happen to call your home base?
Natu His response said he said naturally it's higher. Their dimension.
Ah,
He's giving me he keeps going up, so there must be more than one. Six, seven. I keep hearing him say six, seven, eight, six, seven, eight. So
okay.
they must be capable of traveling through multiple. Yes, he says.
Okay.
Um,
Is one of them your main dimension? And the other ones are like vacation spots?
he says he's giving me the number seven
Okay.
for, I guess, a main hangout spot. He loves your vacation spot. Um, he says it's more of an entertainment kind of thing. They transition through different realms for entertainment. But he says that they exist in a constant, they have more capabilities to exist in a constant state of calm. So it's not that we need vacation. We don't have habits and lifestyles that we need to vacation from.
Well, what is it
Like
about Earth, the earthly dimension that you like? What brings you here? What brings you to our humble abode?
sometimes curiosity, sometimes to teach our younger ones. It is also sometimes to teach the human race. Oh, a lot. He's rambling a lot on teach them about respect, to
Mm.
teach them about their curiosity and self-trust, because when they go out in the woods and they venture, oftentimes they don't trust themselves in those moments. So they begin to call on what's outside of them. So there's a lot of reasons why we come back and forth through dimensions, but he says we like the feel of it, the density, the physical touch of nature, um, the smells like of nature, the dirt, the trees, to experience it in the physical realm on Earth is unlike any other experience. So he says it's a pleasurable experience to experience nature in the physical sense.
Well, what about the
Um,
seventh dimension? Sorry, I'm cutting you off because I got so many questions. I'm going to get through them all. But
that's okay.
what is that like, the seventh dimension? What does it look like?
There's a lot more, he says there's a lot more colors involved, and everything communicates differently. Whether it's plants communicating to each other or um, species like myself communicating to plants or to people. The communication is much different. It's based on frequency and vibrations.
Hmm.
Um, and he says there's less need for physicalness, I guess,
Okay.
when you're in the higher dimension. So it's like everything is just, he says there's like this common understanding based on telepathy. It's what he makes me feel like. It's like this picture he's showing me, like everything understands everything else around you,
Hmm.
and around it based on like this common understanding that flows through telepathy. Is what he's showing me. It's like just it's
And that's
interesting.
the way you communicate with each other too, I guess, huh? That was one of my questions somewhere.
It is. We don't have to use words. We don't have to use languages. Um, Most of the time, it's just energy, emotions.
How do you change? Oh, go ahead.
He's just talking about not even needing body language
Mm.
to communicate to their own kind. Um, he says, "Can you actually believe you're talking to a Bigfoot? Did you ever think?"
No, I'm so honored too. How
But
do you change dimensions? What do you do to change your dimension?
well, that's all your state of mind, your ability to. It starts with the mind. He says, um, when I said, "Well, I assume it's a he," and he's like, "Yeah, I'm a he."
Oh,
But it starts with the mind and altering. He says, because you see, our minds don't race like humans. Humans are
mm,
thinking about a million things all at
yeah.
once. So your energy is spread that thin. Your consciousness, your awareness is everywhere in
Mm.
all those places you're thinking about. We're not like that. We're very much in the moment type of individuals. So that allows us, we don't worry about the past or the future. So that allows us a higher capability to connect to our mindset
Mm-hmm.
and change our vibration based on our thinking
Mm.
and alter ourselves into a different dimension because all of our consciousness, all of our awareness is with us, not
It's
here, there,
nice
and
and
everywhere
narrow. It's very
humans.
focused, so you can project it easily to another dimension. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. He says, and that's why humans can't do that because it's like a complete spiritual, it's a different spiritual DNA makeup. He
Yeah.
says, humans versus
You guys.
nomads.
Well, that was another question. Are you nomadic? So obviously, flitting from one dimension to the next, that's got to be the quintessential nomad right there.
I guess so, because he said that's the difference between humans and nomads. And so he's referring to himself when he said that. So
Okay. Well, do you have some sort of spiritual purpose as a collective?
he says our spiritual, our collective spiritual purpose is our existence is meant to teach collective, I think he's saying collectiveness, like to teach that calm and how to have all of you in one place.
Mm.
But this isn't limited to teaching our own kind, it's teaching anything outside of us. And he actually just said dinosaurs.
Wow.
My mind is going places I never thought
I
possible.
know. Of course, you're teaching humans that too, right?
Absolutely. He says, he says humans create ideas and thoughts because their mind will create a thought and then run with it.
Mm.
So then a lot of that can be false because of what the mind creates.
Yeah.
We don't operate that way. He says we only exist based on what we've experienced, so that is truth. So
Oh, I
there's a
see.
whole different makeup between human understanding and human experience versus our understanding and experience of the world around us.
So are you saying that your thoughts are only centered around your what you experience? That means you don't have any imagination?
Partially, yes. He says our thoughts are centered around the moment we're in, and we take the moment we're in, learn from it, and that becomes truth.
Mm-hmm.
Um, now, we can teach, he says again, we can teach based on who we are and what we've experienced, but we're not big on putting our ideas on others. We'd rather let others experience for themselves.
Okay.
Um, we're not big on letting others or giving others like preconceived notions type of thing. Humans do that left and right.
I know.
He says.
Why are you so elusive? Are you kind of shy? You seem like you prefer solitude, but
Well, he says it's we do prefer solitude, but it's not out of shyness. It's out of wanting, I guess, wanting to cherish their own sacred inner space. So it's like he says, knowing your energy is very sensitive to a degree and not wanting and having good boundaries. He says, how about that? Let's say it like that. Having good boundaries um, in place so that your sense of peace and sense of center doesn't get disrupted by
okay.
anything. So it's not that we're shy and we don't know how to communicate or don't want to. It's more of a self-protection mechanism.
Okay. Do you would you ever if you saw us, I mean, you would defend yourself if we tried to kill you, but do you want to kill us or harm us or eat us even? And would you if we cross paths? Be honest now. I won't hold it against you.
He says
We're kind of tasty, so
he says being on earth, being in the earthly realm and perceived by humans brings about a whole different experience for us emotionally. So it does trigger deeper, like lower emotions where we're generally higher vibrationally operating
yeah.
individuals, but being on the physical realm, there is aggression. Aggression does come about, but the aggression is not just geared at the humans, it's out of protection. Kind of, he says, think about like a mama bear wanting to protect
Oh
her
yeah.
cubs. Um, I just want to protect. So he says, there's definitely aggression that comes into play. Other lower emotions that come into play when we are on Earth, when we're visible by the human. As far as eating, he says some of us may even go as far as harming humans. Um,
Ooh.
because he says, wanting to feel, again, wanting to protect their own inner, he says, there comes a point when you feel like your space has been violated. So I'll do anything I can to protect that, he goes. But as far as eating, we wouldn't go that far.
So basically, you to protect each other, yourself, and your sacred space. That would be those would be the preconditions to harming us.
He says he says right, but we'd rather scare you off than even hurt you.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
out,
it's probably easy to do.
he says out of general respect for other species, he says we've primarily been given a bad name that we're these awful creatures that are out
No,
to
you're not.
kill and hurt and eat. And
No.
he says it's just a misunderstanding. Um, he actually said we're a lot smarter. We're much more intelligent than humans, and that's misunderstood.
I bet.
And he says, so we'd rather, if anything, we'd rather scare you off than hurt you off to get
Okay.
you to leave.
Well, Erik once told me that you look at us like a pet, like a cat or a dog.
That's
Kind of
what
that
he
almost
made me
insignificant.
feel.
Well, not insignificant.
Yeah, when he
Sorry,
said
Bella.
we're much smarter,
Yeah.
like he kind of, there's no hierarchy, I guess, but
Okay.
he's He's putting himself up here towards
All
humans
right.
like we don't bother too much.
Okay, you know what? We're going to close off here and make this part one. When we come back, I'm going to start out. I think I'll start out talking about that famous photo of you, of one of you, trying to figure out if that's a hoax, and some other questions. I have so much to go through. So we will talk to you later, Kim. I'm going to close it down here. You guys watch the stuff at the end of this video. Important information,
Yep,
including
check it
about
out.
Kim. All right. Talk to you
All
later,
right.
guys.
You
Bye, Erik. I'll
too.
be right back.
Bye.
Bye.